Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. This is Jennifer. I have so much to show you guys today. I got a lot of stuff to the next step, finished several things, and have some things kind of in progress. So let's just jump right in. First up, these are the two charity quilts that I quilted over the holidays. These got quilted and then just sat for a couple weeks. Both of these tops are from the BFF retreat from 2022 that I had with Jules. So they've been waiting a while to be quilted. And all of these were orphan blocks. So we had the bears, and then these were a set, and then these were a set. I have more of these as well. There are tons of those. These were just a bunch of different stars that I collected together and cut down to the same size and put them all together. This guy is just the ribbon quilting. I just did the meander and then came back and did more meander. This one I went wild on. This quilt I did a loop-de-loop meander, so it was a meander but with a loop here and there. And then I did the ribbon quilting. And then in between that, I went back and did like little wavy lines. So it is quilted top to bottom. I have a quilt that I want to quilt that's one of mine that I'm thinking of doing that on. So I want to play with maybe one more charity quilt before I decide. Both of these are now bound and ready to donate to Project Lina's Albuquerque, which is where my best friend lives. And I am debating whether to mail these or just stockpile them for one big delivery. I finished a couple of small things over the weekend just because I really was in that mood where you want to have something just marked off your list. And the first thing I did was my Instant Pot cover. This has been on my list since last year. I didn't think I would have enough of this fabric. This is the same fabric that I made my KitchenAid cover for my mixer and for my tea kettle out of. I have an electric tea kettle as well. And I managed to piece together. The top is pieced. And then I had one long strip left, which when I cut it, this is all one long strip, this outside. When I cut it, 2-3 inches left, and that was it. And I used the same binding. The inside of all of them are different, but they're all in the same sort of color scheme. I will give you a tip that I figured out, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to figure this out, but I needed a circle for this, and obviously I want a perfect circle, but I didn't have anything this size. This is a 14-inch circle, and I used my Cricut to make the template. So I cut out a perfect half circle on my Cricut with freezer paper. So that became my pattern for the top of that. And then as I said, the rest was just one big strip of fabric. Last week, Jeanie showed us the little pin cushions that she's been making. They're little like voodoo doll inspired pin cushions. And I loved her reason for making them, which was because 2023 was such a dumpster fire for so many people. It's such a beautiful, just kind of fun, add a little humor to the end of the year kind of project. And she was generous enough to share her original embroidery file with me. So it's not available anywhere. I got this from Jeanie, and I'm delighted that she shared this with me. So I made my own little person, and mine is made out of a leftover linen fabric that was from Jedi robes that I made years and years ago. I just happen to have a little bit of it left. And I like it because it makes that little sort of raggedy edge. And then I used just a brown thread, and you get the little puffy heart right there. That's a little bit of Stonehenge. And then I went ahead, this is just worsted yarn that I unwound. The only thing I did differently was I was worried about this fabric really unraveling. So I did a little seam right here, a little basted seam before I put my fabric on the back, and then I just sewed it together with little X's. So thank you, Jeanie, for sharing this with me. I'm definitely going to make more as soon as I get the chance. This one is filled with, you can hear it. This one is filled with poly pellets because I didn't have walnut shells right now, which crushed walnut shells, amazing for pin cushions. So if you're going to make pin cushions, it's great. It helps sharpen your needles when you put them in and out. So yeah, so thank you, Jeanie, for sharing that. I'm going to do a quick set change, and then we'll move to the next thing. Next up, I have a brand new project that I did not even expect to make last week. This is my Pegasus quilt top. maybe done, maybe gonna have more borders. I haven't decided yet. I had a sew day with my friend Dominique last week, and I wanted something fun and bright and happy to take. So on Wednesday, I was digging around and I had already pulled this Pegasus panel out because I found it when I was cleaning my sewing room over the holidays. And I just decided it was time. What I ended up doing was I put a sort of stop border in purple around the Pegasus, and then I did another border top and bottom just to make it a little longer. And then these are 4x8 flying geese. And then I have a little 4x8 spacer. And because my math didn't work out the way I expected, there's also a 2-inch strip on the end. So geese, a little spacer here, 2-inch strip, and then the same exact thing repeated on the bottom, just turn in the opposite direction. I would really like to put more of this space fabric as the border, but I don't have any more. So I'm gonna look through my stash and see if there's something that works as a border, and if not, it may just be this size. So it's about 45 inches across, but I would like for it to be a little bit wider, a little bit longer, just more of a throw, just a little bit bigger. My next show and tell is not something I made, but it is something that I purchased. My husband and I went to the Austin Antique Mall on Saturday, and I found the best thing. He actually pointed them out because he knows that I love things that are unusually sized. For years, I have coveted a giant pair of scissors for my sewing room wall. I did not find scissors, but if you follow my socials, you've already seen this, and they are phenomenal. So I found giant clothespins, and these are not only just awesome and giant, they're fully functional. They're also a little bit heavy. On Sunday, I dropped my favorite Olfa rotary cutter. I successfully managed to save it with some E6000. This entire seam split and all of the little plastic pieces that hold it together just broke. So after I glued it together, I actually put it in here, and that's what held it together. It worked great. I didn't intend for these to be functional. I'm planning to use them for decorative purposes, but hey, they've already earned their keep if they never do anything else again. One more set change and we're gonna call it a day. Now that I've moved some projects on to the next step, the Hobbit quilt is done, my signature quilt, number 1, I guess actually technically number 2, is ready to quilt and has a back pulled. Now that that's done, I finished my Instant Pot cover. I decided the next thing on my pending projects that is already in progress, big UFO, is my Star Trek row along from 2019. You guys may or may not remember, if you were around back then, that we were doing a row along. So you made the whole row. This is the original series. This is the Next Generation. This is Deep Space Nine. This is Voyager. This is Enterprise. And I stopped here in 2019 because that's when our Talk to Me Tuesday friend Sarah from Austin became ill and was staying with me, and it just wasn't feasible for me to work on something this complicated at the time. I always meant to come back to it, and I've pulled it out a couple of times, but this is the year. Guys, I am serious. I am finishing my UFOs this year, so this one is up next. Again, I'm on the Enterprise row, and the next row is intended to be Discovery, and our own Vanda designed that row, but I have to, a moment of honesty with you guys, I didn't watch past the pilot on Discovery, so I'm seriously contemplating designing a Picard row because I watched all of Picard and I loved it, and I think that would be okay. I think it would be okay for me to have a different row here, and I think it would be fun to have an additional row for anyone who's coming in now and wants to make this project. So that is on my list of things that I want to do for the next couple of months, and I'm very excited about that. A few quick reminders before I go. The Flintstones Quilt Along started on Fandom and Stitches. As always, all of our patterns are free for fans, by fans. This is still free. Fandom and Stitches under Star Trek. Flintstones, you'll find it on the front page. You'll also find it under children's and animated. It'll have its own archive starting today because I usually do the archive updates on Tuesdays. And yeah, so you guys check that out. Also, Talk to Me Tuesdayers, the email went out for our next swap. We haven't had a swap since 2000, so it's high time. So if you are a Talk to Me Tuesday video maker, make sure you check your email, and I hope you will be able to join us for that. And last but not least, I want to send a huge thank you to my coffee supporters. You guys have been amazing. I've said it over and over again that you have paid for Fandom and Stitches, you've paid for Sew Hooked with your generosity. And I don't know if you can tell today that my lighting is better. I purchased some inexpensive lighting specifically for videos to try to pump up the lighting in here a little bit. And it came with three little LEDs on tripod. So it looks like a little bit like a studio in here right now. So I really appreciate your support. That is one of the things that I did because I wanted to make sure that when I'm doing my show and tell, you guys can see it's the highest quality that I can make it for you. One of the other things that I'm doing, and I really hope you will join us for this, is I want to do more giveaways in the Fandom and Stitches Facebook groups. I've already done one in the Project of Doom group this year. I have an event planned for the regular Fandom and Stitches group. Not exact. It's a giveaway. It's a little bit. It's a spin on something I used to do. So I hope you guys will stay tuned for that. And I have ideas for giveaways here on YouTube. And I really hope that you guys will come back and check that out. You guys have a wonderful week. Have a crafty week. I would love to see your video. Seeing your faces and seeing your creativity makes my day. If you would like to join us on Talk to Me Tuesday, it's talktometuesday.wordpress.com. The link is always in the description. I will see you guys next week. Bye.